All right, let's talk about how you can build an inbound marketing strategy from scratch. Now, I talk to so many founders and marketers who ask me how to build an inbound strategy because it's kind of the dream, it's the holy grail. You have people coming to you on autopilot because of content that you create. You don't have to put in hours for dollars. You're not trading time for money. You don't have to do sales, which a lot of people dread. So it's kind of just this North Star gold at the end of the rainbow type of deal. Let's talk about how to build one from scratch because this is what we actually did at Interact. Inbound is a huge part of our strategy, going from 0 to 2.5 million in annual revenue, now going to 10. And then this also reflects a lot of learnings from a bunch of other companies that have succeeded using inbound as their primary marketing strategy. So let's dive right into it. In the very beginning, the best place to start is going to be questions that are coming up all the time from your clients or your customers, whatever you call them in your particular business. The things that come up over and over again in conversation are going to be your content topics when you're starting out. Now, of course, you will run out of those eventually, but I guarantee you, if you keep talking to your clients, there will be an infinite abundance of things that come up that people have questions about or they're asking you about, or even just conversations that happen. If you listen and pay attention, it's just an endless source of ideas. Now that's step one of the process, and step two is actually putting those ideas out there in the form of content. And Dharmesh Shah, who is the co-founder of HubSpot, and HubSpot's kind of famous for inventing the idea of inbound marketing and the term, he had this really great thing that was on LinkedIn where he was saying that phase two of anything, whether it's product or content or marketing, whatever, phase two is putting out a version 0 or a version 1, whichever version you want to say it is, the first version. And most people get stuck on phase two. We don't have any problem talking to our customers and writing down a list of things that are frequently asked. Where we struggle is in putting out a first version of the answers to those questions or even insights around those questions on some sort of platform. So whether it's a blog post or it's a YouTube video, it's on TikTok or Instagram or LinkedIn, wherever you want to go with your content, that's where most people get stuck. And it's understandable. Like it's a uncomfortable thing to put your ideas out there. What are people going to say? How they're going to respond? Is it going to feel like a waste of time? But you have to get through phase two because phase three is the learning phase where you learn and you iterate on your process, and you watch your videos back, you listen to your podcasts back, you pay attention to what's going well and what's not. You see what's resonating with your audience and what's driving customers, what's not, and you slowly iterate on your process. It gets way, way easier. At this point, personally, I've written 1,000 blog posts, done a few hundred podcasts, a few hundred videos, and you kind of just get into a rhythm with it. Now, when new platforms come up, like, now there's TikTok and Instagram Reels, of course, it's going to be uncomfortable again to adapt to those platforms and create content for them. But if you get yourself into a routine of creating consistently, it gets just so much easier. It's like any habit. It's, like everyone loves using the losing weight or getting in shape analogy, but it actually kind of is the same thing. Like, you're not going to see results because you go on a walk every morning for 5 days, but you're definitely going to see results if you go on a walk every morning for 6 months. And that's the same with an inbound strategy. Give it at least 6 months of this 3-step process where you're listening to ideas, creating version 1, and then iterating to make that content better over time. Give it 6 months of doing it at least twice a week because you have to create consistently. You can't just do something like one time in 6 months and be like, see, it didn't work. It has to be consistent. You have to build over time. You have to pay attention to what's working and what's not with the content that you create. And I guarantee you, you'll at least learn something. I can't guarantee you that it's going to get you customers. It took us a full year of doing this to get our first customer through content marketing. But once you do get that engine going, it just starts to flow, and then you can expand it out. And now, we have an incredible team here at Interact that has the engine going, and they're iterating, and everybody's sharing ideas. So again, that's the 3 steps. Most people get stuck going from phase 1 to phase 2, which is putting stuff out there. From most of the entrepreneurs that I've talked to, what people do is they band together in groups, and they kind of just commit that, like, all right, we're all going to create content, we're all going to comment on each other's content, we're all going to encourage each other, and they're going to be watching. Like, my friends are going to be watching in my group. If I'm not creating anymore, they're going to be like, hey, what gives? Why aren't you creating anymore? I think that's a good way to get through the mental block on that piece, so that you can start building a model of what works, and then move into phase 3 where you're dialing that in so it's actually driving you the results that you want. So that's how we built an inbound strategy from scratch, and that's how I think really any company can do it. Just listening to the things your customers are talking about, get that content out there, iterate on it, rinse and repeat, give it a good 6 months go before you really give up on it, and I guarantee you'll see increased returns over time.